John Dee, 1527 to 1608, was a controversial English mathematician, astrologer and alchemist. He was a court advisor to Elizabeth I and spent much of his time studying divination and hermetic philosophy. He sought to contact spirits and act as intermediaries for communication with angels and investigated occult phenomena both in England and abroad. John Dee was born in London and studied in Chelmsford, Essex, before graduating at St John's College in Cambridge and subsequently being elected as a Fellow Trinity College in Cambridge. In 1547, he travelled to the Low Countries and became acquainted with the cartographer Gerardus Mercator, and the following year he received a Master of Arts and entered the University of Louvain in Belgium. After an introduction to William Cecil, he received a pension which exchanged for finances from two rectories in Worcestershire and Lincolnshire. He entered the service of the Earl of Pembroke and became friendly with Robert Dudley. He started writing horoscopes for royalty, and he was investigated for the Star Chamber but cleared for any specific wrongdoing. He began amassing books for his own personal library, which contained over 2,000 manuscripts by the time of its destruction in 1589. Dee continued to travel abroad, sometimes on Queen Elizabeth's business, and conducted experiments in his house in Mortlake. He's been referenced as possible spy, and even the originator of the 007 character, James Bond. Attention has been drawn towards the comparisons between Dee and Shakespeare's Prospero in The Tempest. After an invite to travel to Poland by Lord Albert Lasky, he arrived in Krakow, Poland with his family in 1584, and then moved to Prague before returning to England in 1589. Financial problems and lawsuits plagued him despite being appointed to the wardenship of Christ's College in Manchester in 1595. The death of Queen Elizabeth in 1603 caused Dee to lose his patronage and protection, since the new king, James I, was hostile towards magic and its implications of witchcraft. He died in relative poverty, eking out a living by selling his books and casting horoscopes. There is considerable difficulty in separating the myth from the facts concerning Dee's scientific work into the mysteries of life, which embrace physical concepts. To many he seemed to be a dabbler in black magic, a mountebank, even an impostor. Some have criticised him as the most jewelled of men, yet there could be little doubt that Mr. Dee was a most learned man. In 1564, Dee wrote the metric work of the Monus Hieroglyphica, an interpretation of a primary symbol and accompanying text of 24 theorems with diagrams meant to express the mystical unity of all creation. He dedicated it to Maximilian II, the Holy Roman Emperor. Dee used crystals, mirrors and incantations in his attempts to communicate with angels in accordance with the work of Cornelius Agrippa. In 1582, he met Edward Kelly, who impressed him with his powers of scrying. Dee believed that Kelly communicated with angels using a new Enochian language that would ultimately reveal the mysteries of the heavens, after Dee himself had experienced strange dreams himself. Instructions to Kelly included the construction of several magical instruments and an altar to be used in a holy table. This alleged communication to Kelly from an entity called Madame. This informed him that their wives should be shared, which resulted in the ultimate breaking up of the working relationship between the two men. The historian P.G. Maxwell Stewart devoted considerable space to ritual magic in his book Wizards, A History, which mentions comparisons and contrasts between Dee and Kelly's approaches to magic, glossolia, and the transmission of information from spirits with psychological research. Although the language of Dee's diaries refers to what some would hold to be antiquated concepts such as angels, celestial beings, and the mystery of the heavens, it might also be argued that he was witnessing through Kelly's the still little known powers of the unconscious, and recording it according to the language of his time. In modern parlance, Kelly might well be referred to as a medium communicating with spirits in a psychic sense, which was instigated by a parapsychologist researching alleged divination.